Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gebo the Shaman, and today we are talking about how to read a birth chart, an astrology chart, without an actual birth time. Lots of people were born and they don't have like an accurate birth time. They might say, their parents might say, oh yeah, you were born in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening sometime, but that doesn't really help when it comes to an actual birth chart, where you need to know not only the sun sign and the moon sign, but the ascendant as well. The ascendant is the most important thing about your chart. It changes every 2 hours. So the sun sign can give you a general, kind of a superficial idea about your personality and things like that. And this is why, Western horoscopes or Western astrology predictions are always, not so accurate, not so precise, not so, not like just wrong most of the time. So anyway, so I will tell you a way to, if you don't know your birth time, then you can watch this video and you will know how to read your chart without one. So, and by the way, I am a Vedic astrologer. I'm a very talented birth time rectification specialist. So if you don't know what birth time rectification is, that means that I actually look at your chart and I figure out what time you were born by asking you specific questions about life events and things like that. So it's a very easy process. It's very easy for the client to kind of, figure out, okay, this is what I need to answer and things like that. And it's easy for me because once I have to basically ask you about two questions to get to a 2-hour time window. And then from there, I can narrow it down based on looking at your other charts. Anyway, it's a very complicated and detailed process. I don't want to get into that much over here, but it is available if you guys want it. And it does take me quite a while. It's pretty fast to narrow it down to a 2-hour window. However, to get it to the exact precise minute, that does take some work on my end. So, and I do guarantee that I can get it down to a minute, using the tools and techniques that I've adopted over the years to do this stuff. So, anyway, alright, so the first thing that we want to look at is we have your birthday, right? We have, July 4th, 1776, or whatever your birthday is. Nobody who's born in 1776 should be alive, but, I mean, anyway, so you take your birthday, right? And then you want to input into whatever astrology software you're using, and by the way, it should be Vedic astrology software using the sidereal zodiac. I am a Vedic astrologer. Western astrology is off by 24 degrees. You don't want to use that because it's not using the accurate, precise positions of the planets as they're moving through the sky. They had something called something drift, planetary drift or something like that. Essentially, it's because it wasn't counting the precession of the equinox. It wasn't counting things slowly moving. The constellations move. They do very slowly, but they do move. So anyway, so please, for the love of God, use Vedic astrology, because that not only does it have the divisional charts, which are amazing and you can look at to, find out, okay, there's a specific chart for your career, for your relationships, for your siblings, for your children, for everything. So why would you not want to use that valuable resource? Anyway, how to read a chart when you don't know your birth time. Okay, so we're talking about the birth chart, the D1 divisional chart, the D1, the birth chart, basically. So, essentially, you don't know what ascendant you are, right? That means, because essentially, the key to birth time, the birth time is, knowing which ascendant you are. This sets up the whole dynamic for your chart, okay? But if you don't know that, the second most important thing is your moon sign. So, if we put, and this is called Chandra Lagna. So if we put Chandra is the moon, and Lagna is the first house, the ascendant, the rising sign. So if we put the moon as the ascendant or rising sign, meaning that you look at your chart as, let's say you have Aquarius moon, okay, you would have Pisces in your second house, Aries in your third house, Taurus in your fourth, and so on. You would have Capricorn in your 12th house if you were Aquarius moon. So this is a way of looking at your chart where it's not going to be 100%, but at least you can get kind of a feeling, a grasp for what's going on in your chart. And I know a lot of people are probably asking, okay, why is this? Well, this is because the moon is your mind. It is your meditative mind. So this is the way that the mind will be perceiving the world, much like so the ascendant sign is the actual, like, the body, the physical body, the psychological makeup, the way that your body wants to interact in the world. So essentially what you do is you put the moon sign as the ascendant, and you can read it from there. So for example, using this chart will not be, it'll be more of, since your moon sign has to do a lot with how you think and things like that, it's essentially how you will experience the world. This is like showing your experience of the world. This is showing how you feel about the things that are happening in your life, how they are affecting you mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. So that's very, very important aspect to this, because that is one aspect of your life. So that is probably one of the most important aspects of your life, is how you view things from a mental, emotional, psychological point of view. So essentially that's how you would do it, is you would look at, you would let's say if you had Mars in the 7th house from your moon sign. So you would look at the moon sign and you would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you would find Mars, let's say that. So you could essentially do a Google search for Mars in the 7th house. Okay, so you could do a Google search for that, and that would show you what Mars is in the 7th house is. I have videos on my channel going through every planetary position, every planetary placement, every sign, every house, every, everything. So you can at least look that up on my channel if you like. And yeah, it's so essentially you would read the chart from the moon sign. So another thing is that how this works is, like, if you I would encourage you guys, if you don't know how to read a chart, go learn how to read a chart. And again, this is Vedic astrology, not Western. I'm telling you guys, if you use your Western chart, it's going to do you a massive disservice because it's 24 degrees off from the actual planetary placements. The arbitrary positions, and a lot of people don't like it when I call them arbitrary positions of the Western zodiac. Those arbitrary positions that the planets are placed in the Western zodiac, or they are not the actual placements of the planets in the sky, because what matters most is where the actual celestial bodies are in the sky. So when you have just a random calculation about that, it's not accurate. Like I said, they didn't count for the precession of the equinox and planetary drifts and things like that. So yeah, anyway, so now I'm going to give you guys an easy way to figure out within 2 hours of your birth time. Get it within, probably about an hour of your birth time, like a 2-hour window. An easy way to do this is, and I've mentioned this in other videos, look at where your moon is placed from. So when you do your moon chart, when you put your moon in the ascendant, you want to make sure that essentially it's not changing signs. So from day to day it could shift signs, and that when it does that, when it shifts signs in the same day, in the same 24-hour period, that makes it especially unstable, because you don't know if you're a Leo or a Virgo or whatever sign it's in. So that's one way, is to use the moon's placement. But if that's not, if it changes signs throughout the day, then that's not too accurate. It's actually less accurate. So anyway, here is a fix for you. I want you to look at and this is why I'm saying Vedic astrology. I want you to look at the padas, the divisions of a nakshatra, wherever your moon is placed. So the moon changes padas every 6.6 hours. Just about, on average. So with the moon changing padas every 6.6 hours, that is a very fast moving planet. The moon is a very fast planet. So here's how you can kind of beat this. You can get it narrowed down to a 6.6 hour window by, looking at from 12 a.m. midnight to 12 a.m. midnight, the entire 24 hours that you're born, looking at where the moon was placed from in those periods. And then you go to, you can, I don't have videos on the moon's padas and things like that, but KRS does. So you can go on YouTube to KRS channel and type in moon in whatever the nakshatra and pada one is, or not nakshatra and pada is. So let's say moon in Dhanishta pada 4, enter, and then his video will come up about that. And then you watch that video and say, did that resonate with me or not? If it doesn't resonate, skip to the next one. Moon in Dhanishta pada whatever. Moon in Revati pada whatever. And go through and figure out which one really, really resonates with you the most. So out of those 4 or 5 nakshatras or padas, which one resonates with you the most? Okay, so then you have your 6.6 hour window, and then look at which signs were in that, which ascendants were occurring during that 6 hour period. You have Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. What was going on during that period? And then you go into those signs and you look at which sign you are. You watch, Cancer ascendant. And we're talking about the ascendant here, guys, not the sun sign. The sun sign changes signs every 30 days. That is not inaccurate. That's not going to do anything for you. Okay, so looking at the ascendant, watch the videos that, occur in that 6 hour window for the ascendants. And then when you say, oh, wow, I'm a Libra ascendant. Great. Okay, now you have a 2 hour window to work within. Now you can say, okay, this is the time period, so you basically slice that in half, and whatever time is exactly in the center of that, then there you go. That's your birth time. That's not exactly your birth time, but it's a time that you can use. Okay? So there's that. So I had a question here. Basically, this video is answering somebody's question. So she says, how can I find certain aspects of a chart without a birth time? So yeah, you want to look at the moon. You want to use your moon as the ascendant. So you look at your chart from your moon placement. So essentially what that means is you put your moon, you can either do this by mentally, by seeing the chart with your moon as the ascendant, or you can physically, alter your birth time to make sure that your moon is in the ascendant or something like that. But anyway, that's what you want to do. And then you can, if you're not familiar with astrology, you can just Google. Okay, I have Scorpio in the 2nd house. Okay, Scorpio in the 2nd house. What does that mean? Sagittarius in the third, Mars in Cancer, Scorpio in Saturn with Scorpio. What does that mean? You can do your research from there, but the key thing is, guys, you gotta look at your chart. You gotta know how to read a chart. That's the that's the hard thing. And I at one time I knew how to read a Western chart, but I just don't now. I just have absolutely no clue right now. I can read a North Indian chart very proficiently. However, a South Indian chart, that's still a tough one for me, because it's like when I look at a North Indian chart, it's so easy, because that's the first house, that's the second, that's the third, that's the fourth, all the way around. I know exactly what I'm looking at, and I don't have to search for the ascendant in some random box in the South Indian chart. So really, guys, I'd encourage you to go ahead and read a chart. Basically learn how to read a chart. All right. So and again, as I said, you can look at using Vedic astrology. You look at the padas, where the moon is placed during the 24-hour that you were born within, called a day. And then figure out which one resonates best with you. The good thing about that is because there's only 4 possibilities, so you have 4 options to choose from. So that's pretty easy, right? And then from there, you can figure out, okay, well, these ascendants, these signs were rising in the east at the time, in this time period. So essentially it has to be one of those signs. And then you say, okay, which sign resonates best with me? Which sign is something that I can really resonate with? And from there, you'll find the sign that resonates best with you. And from there, you have a 2-hour window to work with. So just take that time frame and slice it right in half, and whatever time that is, you can use that as your time of birth functionally. It's not the exact time of birth, but it's it's close. It's within 2 hours or an hour each direction of that, so you can do that. All right, guys, so again, I have to stress the differences between Vedic and Western. When you use a Western chart, just remember that you're using a chart that is 24 degrees inaccurate. That means that when you look at your Western chart and you compare that with your Vedic chart, things could be totally off in totally different signs. And so that's because Western is not using the accurate, the actual time, the actual positions of the planets in the sky. If you look at astronomy, they have these cool astronomy apps where they're like AR, augmented reality, and you put your phone up to the sky and you look around, and essentially they show you where planets are placed in the constellations. And so if a chart isn't adding up to that, if a chart isn't showing the planets, the actual placements of the planets in the real-time positions, then it's not accurate. Also, you cannot use your sun sign as anything. It's it's not that accurate. It's just not accurate. If I could, or, a lot of people are obsessed with sun signs, and that's because of Western astrology. But if I could, I would just use the ascendant sign and the moon sign as indicators of personality. I would totally leave out the sun. Why is that? Because the sun changes signs every 30 days. It's really not that accurate. It's really not that, like, the moon changes moon changes nakshatras every day, every single day. It changes signs every 2 to 3 days. So it's really a lot more accurate to your personality, your individuality. And when I say accurate, perhaps that's what I mean. The individuality, like how many people are born in July that they say, "Oh, I'm a Cancer." Okay, but really, are you? Because that's just your sun sign. That doesn't mean anything. It's like it changes every 30 days. So how is that a sign of your individuality? But the combination of the ascendant, which changes every 2 hours, and the combination of the moon, not only the moon sign, but the pada and the nakshatra, or the sign, nakshatra, and then pada changes every 6.6 hours. Padas. So anyway, guys, this is my ramble. Anyway, I hope you got something out of it. Hope I was helpful. And if you're very confused by this, if you want to know how to read a Vedic birth chart, perhaps I'll do that video in the future. But yeah, just use your moon sign. You want to put your chart. So how you would use your moon sign again is you would put your chart at 12 o'clock noon, and then basically you would put the moon sign as the ascendant. So you can do that as a mental picture, or you could just do it as time-wise on your astrology software. So anyway, guys, feeling a little weird. I hope I explained everything okay, and if you guys have any questions about this, then you can go to the comments down below and leave me a comment or a question. I'd be happy to answer you there. Alright, so yeah, and hey, if you want extra help on actually figuring this stuff out and getting your time, getting an actual accurate birth time, then you can go to gebotheshaman.com. I have a service there called Birth Time Rectification, and that is where I use these techniques that I was talking about today, and I put them to use in your birth chart. And aside from those techniques, we can get it down to 2 hours from those simple techniques, but then from there I ask you some questions and I really go into depth on all your charts, rectifying one by one. And yeah, it's super, it's just super like detailed and in-depth, and it does take a lot of work and energy for me to do this stuff, so that's why I do charge a good deal. I feel like it's a fair price considering what you're getting. But yeah, go check that out, gebotheshaman.com. And I also have, oh yeah, I forgot, guys. I also have my book that just came in from Amazon. It's just got published, and it is a print copy of this book that you see over here, Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology. You can go check that out on my website, gebotheshaman.com. It'll have a direct link to Amazon to buy it. You can either get the print version or the Kindle version, so you can check that out. And it's really, it's really a short read. It's that thick, so it's really not that bad. Anyway, guys, so go check that out. Here's the back of it that I made. There's my face on it. So yeah, just really proud of this book, and yeah, go pick it up, Alright, so yeah. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we will talk to you next time, alright? Once again, I have, a bunch of services to offer you. Qigong courses, the Astrology Certification course, astrology readings, birth time rectification, rune readings, the career coaching and life coaching, trauma healing course, distance energy healing, and so much more. So you can go check all that out at my website, gebotheshaman.com. And once again, I am the best astrologer, as it says. So anyway, guys, that's it for me for today. So we will talk to you next time. Peace.